Hello and welcome back to everybody's favourite Commander the Gathering YouTube channel. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and today we're going to talk about Orcish Bowmasters for the third time on this channel. So some people supposedly want Orcish Bowmasters banned even before it arrives on tables because they got wrecked by it on Arena or at pre-release. And then that small amount of people provoked the rest of the community to knee-jerk and clown on them for the last week or so on social medias, on Reddit, on Twitter and similar, just talking about how f***ing insane such an idea is. So that means a small handful of people who are idiots got an entire community talking as if this bit was very loud and vocal when it wasn't. And we see this a lot, and I probably feed into this issue too. But the RC mentioned the Bowmasters and the Bat were both on the watch list, and that of course leads to a discussion around, do we play enough interaction? So in today's video, I'm going to explain to you the old concept of dies to removal, but I'm going to use it in the context of a metaphor, of an allegory, of just talking about toilets, flushing, and wiping your own arse. But first, this video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com. Use the link in the description below to get 5% off your order and to help support the show when buying singles or sealed product. And this Tuesday, hashtag sponsored, whatnot, they have given me a box of collector boosters to give away on stream. 7 PM BST over on my whatnot. There'll be a link to that in the description below. I'm going to give away 12 collector boosters, one box. Each one will be given away to a viewer and we will open it on stream. So I might inadvertently give away a $2 million card. I guess it would be good press. Hit the link in the description below, and if you use my sign up link as well, you get £10 off your first purchase. Right, let's talk dice removal quickly. Other than being the best podcast for Magic the Gathering featuring a handsome Brit and an American, it's also the concept that creatures are only good if they do something when not just dying to removal. And we don't just mean protection. Not just protection, invulnerable, or hexproof. We're not just talking about it not literally dying to removal, but it's doing something before it does. So that means it entering the battlefield and doing something. The Titan cycle being the famous case of they enter the battlefield and do something, and they attack and do something, and thus they do something even if someone spends a 1-mana removal spell instant speed to get rid of your 6-mana mythic. The other example to that is probably haste. A creature that can come down and attack your opponent, threaten the life total, and do something towards your game plan. It's a lot better when it can get around the sorcery speed interaction of sorcery speed edict effects and Wrath of Gods and similar things like that. So talking about the value left behind, the streak in the pan, or the moist shart that came when you went for a little far and didn't just waft away in the wind. It left behind a little stain. Some examples of this would be perhaps Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, or Drowned Magistrate, two cards that do upset people a little bit in Commander, one more so than the other I'd say. But both of these cards, although they die to removal quite easily, and Thalia dies to literally a stiff wind, she will die to someone farting in a general direction due to the 1 toughness, but both of these cards have some effect. For example, in Thalia's case, and you see this more exaggerated in older formats like Legacy, she will make the opponent's removal spell cost 1 more, and thus she will gain you some tempo when she needs to be killed. Dread of Magistrate might die to removal, but will sit around stopping your opponent from casting their commander up until the point that they are. Both of these have done something. Both of these things have bought you time, tempo, they've bought you something that I should probably do a video to explain. Tempo isn't really an easy term to understand. And this extends to other Staxy pieces too. Spirit of the Labyrinth, for instance, does fuck with everyone's card draw, but it's sat there doing it on board, and thus people may not cast their card draw spells into it. It's not like Tyrann of Magistrate, which affects a core part of the game plan, or Thalia affecting all non-creature spells. It actually only affects when you want to draw extra cards. So if you avoid doing so, you can play around it and it's in play. Which leads me to my next one. The one where you can wipe it clean with a wet wipe, but the sudden impact of it, the sudden shit whilst you're in the grocery store line to buy your groceries. Grocery store line to buy your groceries, that's not very good writing. When you're waiting in line at the cashier to use your bank card for the first time because it's your 12th birthday and you just shit yourself in the bank. These cards are a little bit more sudden. Notion Thief is a good comparison to Spirit of the Labyrinth in the sense that it does a similar thing. It fucks with your opponent's draws. I mean, you get them instead, but it fucks with your opponent's draws. But in the case of it having flash, it means it can be so sudden that it will have some sort of impact on the spell it's being cast in response to. The trigger of a Sylvan Library, for example, a Brainstorm, or worse yet, some sort of Blue Sun Zenith style effect. Opposition Agent falls into the same camp of gotchaing somebody and allowing you to get 1 bit of value out of it before you wipe it away. So it leaves a residual mess in the underpants. I haven't thought these analogies through too deeply. I just wanted to talk about pooping. But although it makes a mess of the pan initially, once you flush, they are gone. Orcish Bowmasters has a different issue. Whilst Orcish Bowmasters does die to removal, it still has that flash. It still has that sudden impact of getting a bit of value at the point that you play it, even if it's just 1 ping and 1 extra orc. And it also has an ETB as well, so like the Titan example earlier, you get something off of it even if someone spends a removal spell to kill it. On top of all this, it's 2 mana, which makes it the cheapest card we're going to talk about today, other than one more culprit that's coming up. The one that pebble dashes and ruins your underdraws. But once the turd is in the toilet and you flush, you have to flush with a much more powerful flush. You might need a moistened wet wipe to clean your crack once Orcish Bowmasters has come out of your slot. I'm sorry, I've committed to this. I've got to keep going. Once you wipe away the Orcish Bowmaster, you're still going to have an Orcish army standing around. Just a streak in the toilet pan, a mess in your pants, and it might be a small smear, or depending on what happened beforehand, like a Wheel of Fortune, we might be talking about a horrendous like hole in the porcelain because you shot a huge girthy shit through it. I've never damaged a porcelain throne with this shit. So the idea that Orcish Bowmasters just dies to removal isn't quite true because it leaves something behind. You have to wipe much harder, multiple wipes, or just a big wider wet wipe. The wet wipe in this case being Wrath of God, for example. But honestly, I don't know if we need to ban it because ultimately I haven't played enough with it. The card is undoubtedly very good, like kind of nuts, but is it better than some of the other stuff that's legal? Let's talk about the Goblin in the Room. Dockside Extortionist is 2 mana as well, so if someone's spending a 3 or 4 mana spell to kill it, well, their mana down, their tempo down. But beyond that, Dockside Extortionist makes a fucking mess when it enters. When this wet turd slaps onto the floor, bits fall off all over the place, bits go under the sofa, stuff sticks to the walls and the curtains, there are treasures all over the shop. The ETB effect, or enters the battlefield effect, for those of you who've never played Magic or been on this channel before, the enter the battlefield effect leaves behind a load of treasures. So once you kill it, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't even want to kill it. It's so spattered and so much of a fucking shitty mess, it's all over the format, that you can't really clean it up with a pinpoint removal spell. You need something that also not only cleans the toilet pan, but cleans the walls too. And finding a card that both kills creatures and kills treasures at the same time is quite difficult. They exist, but they cost 6 mana. In the same way you can just hire a cleaning service to fix the room after you've shit up the walls. And whilst all of this was an excuse to talk about shitting on the walls, I am honestly saying that Dockside Extortionist has been and continues to be a problem far beyond what Orcish Bowmasters does. I think some cards, when they don't punish an opponent, they don't stop you from drawing a card, for example, or shoot you for doing so, those cards pass by the wayside. I think Notion Thieves, Opposition Agents, Hull Breachers, and in this case Orcish Bowmaster, they all feel more oppressive or more frustrating because they're unfun, because they're stopping you or punishing you for doing something. Meanwhile, Dockside just accelerates your opponent ahead like a big old ritual. That's also a body that can be flickered and recurred. I mean, it's way better than the other ritual. Dockside's dumb, right? But the reason that people think Dockside is dumb but don't scream about it being banned is because it's not stopping them from doing anything besides ending the game. I solemnly believe, swearing with my whole chest, hand over heart, or whatever, I don't know how to explain this, I'm not good with words, I'm a dog scientist. But I believe that Dockside Extortionist is the biggest problem in Commander right now. I don't know if it needs a ban, but if we're talking about banning anything, I think Dockside is really the culprit. Nothing should cost $60 and just derail games like it does. The reason that Primetime is banned, Primeval Titan is banned on the Commander list, is because it takes over games. It dominates games. People copy it, recur it, and so on. And Dockside's exactly the same. It's just not a 6/6 body. And it often makes more mana, explosive that can be used in the turn it comes in, than Primetime ever did. And you also can't wipe it all away with one moistened wet wipe, where Bowmaster only requires 2 wet wipes. Dockside requires a whole little baggie full of dealing with all the stuff that the mana made too. Because the other thing, right? You use the treasures to then shit more. It's like a torrential diarrhea unloading. And on that note, that's the end of the video. Don't forget to check out Whatnot in the description below. Download the app because the giveaway is exclusive to app users. All the giveaways on there at the moment. Download the app, get logged in and get ready to try and win some collectible boosters which are free to viewers who are watching and following. Thanks for watching this video and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.